Welcome to the new episode of the podcast. Mr. Deepak Joshi, the Partnership and Alliance Lead at Qoruz, joins us in this episode with over 13 years of experience in sales, marketing, and business development. Deepak has a unique perspective on influencer marketing. We'll discuss key points such as how influencer marketing has evolved over the years, the latest trend in influencer marketing, including the impact of pandemic, the role of data and technology in driving successful campaign, and valuable advice for aspiring influencer marketer. Join us for an insightful conversation with Deepak Joshi in to learn more about the current state and the future of influencer marketing. Hi Deepak, I want to express my sincere gratitude for the graciously accepting my invitation to join us for the podcast and the Sunday project. And I'm truly honored to have you on board as we embark on this journey together.
Suresh, thank you so much. You're too kind, brother. And in fact, you know me and I know you for many years. In fact, you were one of the initial guys who had helped me, establish what I am doing right now in the Delhi ecosystem, especially in terms of digital marketing. So, I mean, this is very less. I don't think so. This will be even iota of what you kind of helped me achieve. So, thanks all mine here. So, you're too kind.
Welcome.
You're too kind.
Yeah. So let's start. I will talk about there are certain sections. We'll go one by one. I will first want to understand your journey in the into the influencer marketing. Can you share any moment that in your career that led you to the influencer market? Why you have come to this particular field?
So I am not a very ideal case, Sudesh. So I'll tell you why. So though you know it, for the larger audience or the people who are into business who want to create something of their own and want to navigate the world of which they've never ever experienced before, my case is a very very different case. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm not a guy who's kind of built up in digital industry. I come from a background which is more into hospitality. I was into travel trade. I used to sell, those packages to foreigners, those domestic travelers. I used to sell hotels. So I have a very, mix or a very spread around career in terms of business. I'll tell you, the the influencer marketing happened with a kind of a hit of luck for me. The founder, Pranesh, is a very old friend. He had initially started this business and he wanted to take out few of his friends or few of his colleagues to Corbett National Park, where he would just, it was a ritual that he still has there, where he would take people just to give them a detox of the digital things that we do, just to things take a little bit offline. And one fine day, he and I were having, a couple of beers, and then he said, "Okay, Deepak, why don't you try and help me create something which I am trying to build, which is technology-led, influencer-led platform." For me, it was all new. I was very guy. I had seen the role of technology play very evidently in tourism, wherein that one-on-one in-person relationship was dying, and in fact the shift was gradually towards digital or the online platform or the online travel agents. So I had seen that. Then I took a moonshot. I said, okay, let me try this. If it works out, there is nothing for me to lose, because I know a lot of grandfathers in the industry or the sharks in the industry. I'll be able to come back and I'll be able to do something for myself again or restart my journey again. That was the whole idea in mind. But then 2016 or 17 October it was, and now we're sitting at 2024 April. The time has just passed.
Quite a bold move, right? Changing a field from hospitality to influencer marketing.
Yes, I'll say yes. I agree to it. Very difficult for me.
It is. It is a lot of time, when we try to switch within the industry, it is difficult for people to adjust. And you have completely changed from hospitality to, to influencer marketing.
Yes,
that's quite marvelous.
Thank you, Suresh. So what typically ends up happening is that we generally come with pre-built motions. That is exactly what I have seen in digital also. We already have pre-built ideas, or we generally love to call it a confirmatory bias. It's a psychological term that is largely used about it. So we've got our own biases about our preferences and our choices, and we think the world revolves around it. It's not like that. It's about taking the right decision and on intervals evaluating your performance and seeing whether you are growing as far the industry is growing and your current market equity. So all those key pointers we need to look at even before jumping our guns into any business.
Yeah, baseline is always ready to accept the changes and ready to embrace that. Yeah. So that is the baseline that.
Change is inevitable, Suresh. We'll have to accept the change. We want it, we don't want it. We have to live with it. We'll have to accept it. At a point of time, we used to, have wood to wood to, cook food. Now we've got gas. Now the gas has those cylinders are changed into, transferred into, or evolved into pipelines. Something new will come in the future. We can't say, okay, I'll go back and I stay in a 20-story building where there are smoke alarms. I'll burn wood and I'll cook food. We change, we adapt. That is where I would like to end this point. Yeah.
So, so continuing to this, what were the early lessons or challenges you have encountered in the field?
So coming to this is a very excellent question. I thought, and I'm really aware you've well thought about it. So when I had come to this business, so it was very new to the industry itself. No one knew what influencer marketing is. For them, getting a activation on Twitter was the upper side of it. That was the roof, I'll say, of that was the roof of the business. So and when something is very new, so you can't go with one mindset. Okay, I'll try this only, and this will work for me, and this should work for the industry as a rule of thumb. But no, that is not it. What we or principally I even tell with my colleagues and the people who work for me and who work across teams with me is that there is nothing like a concrete strategy per se. Whatever you see is right and relevant at this point of time, and go and accept it and go ahead with it. What I mean by is that take a white slate, throw everything on the white slate, and then think over it, rule over it. Whatever sticks to that original plan, that is the strategy. So what happened for us when we tried to create business in Delhi was that brands were not very much interested on influencer marketing because it was totally new and they've been, taken on a ride by multiple new innovations which have come to the market, and they were cheated a lot in terms of data frauds and in terms of money.
Yes. I remember there were a lot of apprehension on the tracking part.
Yes.
Whether whatever numbers been thrown, it is actually resulting in something or not. That was a biggest apprehension that I also was having at that point of time. Is it fruitful? Is it help my brand to grow? Is it help me in reaching out to the right kind of audience or not? Those apprehensions were there. Those questions were there.
Very true. And those questions have not still changed, Suresh. Though the way we present them and then the way we speak about them has or might have changed, the questions remain the same. And I'm just trying to address the first question that you'd asked me first, and then we'll jump into this. Is that so? What we did is that, and the brands were very new. But what the good part of giants like WPP, creative agencies, and the publishers of the world is that the magic of these agencies is that they're ready to experiment. Though the brand could be a little bit afraid of, jumping into the unknown seas, but these agencies are very much, evidently very strong in their head. They know we try. That is where we evolve and find the green pastures for business to grow. So, in fact, what we realize is that, okay, though we might see them as a low-hanging fruit, but building them into our concrete partner and, working with them towards, somehow finding out new ways of getting a solution for brands, that is where it helped us. So to that phase, we have a technological Qoruz which does its own phenomenal job around influencer marketing. We started, initially the cost parameter was very high for us, but we started to give it at a very high discount. We created a lot of white label solutions wherein brands would take that input or insights from agencies and would activate influencers. Now they have something to look upon, like they have a data point to which they know our activation should deliver something around this zone. So this is where it kind of moved forward. And now coming to the second part of the question is that what the initial result of a particular activation is that coming to that spear itself or that poster itself is that now we know that there's a shift of needle when we do an influencer campaign from this point to point A to point B. Now, because there are so many tools apart from what influencer agencies are giving, there are tons and tons of, listening tools and other tools which help us gather
Yes.
data and put them in a very very beautiful way in all those graphs and everything. So we are able to analyze, use our learnings, experiences, and churn out some insights of our own. So so that is where it has happened. Now the question which is more relevant to this current times around influencer marketing is that, okay, 10 years of awareness, 10 years of somewhere towards the middle of the funnel of the business, what is the result output in terms of revenue or sales a particular influencer can deliver to me? This is the current ask of market right now. And if you ask me, is there an answer to it? Not a rule of thumb. I say you try this, you get this. So we have to experiment. Now, last decade that we learned so much about influencer marketing, from from understanding what an influencer is, to what a KOL is, to what a celebrity would bring to the table, to having all those subcategories within influencer marketing, say a nano, a micro, a mega, or everyday influencers like you and me, who've got say 500, 700 odd followers. How to use these people as a media vehicle for our larger venue for brands to present them their opportunities or their product in front of them, and in a manner such a way that it doesn't look salesy. The idea is to make ad look in such a subtle way, such a smooth way, that it doesn't come out as an ad which forces people to, you have to buy. See, because if you look at traditional media or even a print, if there is an ad, you have to look at it. Now with the digital space, you can just swipe up your thumb and that content piece is not no more relevant. So that now we have to think in a way, in a very creative manner, that how to catch attention of my viewer in that 1 or 2 seconds, that he doesn't scroll up his thumb. So that is where the whole game is being played right now.
Yes. True. Very true. So did you have any mentor or key influencer that shaped your journey in this field?
Oh, tons, Suresh. For me, everyone from whom I could take any learning would have been a mentor. For example, for what has worked for me is high case of references. I'll tell you, I'll just take you on a journey. How it happened was that, so I met you somehow we could have met over a call. You took me and you introduced me to 10 other people in the same ecosystem wherein I got my references. Then where I met my another good friend who's Karan Rao. Now he's started something of his own. He's now an entrepreneur. I met him. We did a phenomenal piece of business. But during that phase itself, in 18 and 19, you introduced me to Swatantra sir. So our company's first international chapter started because of that interaction. So everyone is a mentor for me. Everyone is a mentor for me. I don't know who would help me where, but yes, who I would like to speak on continuous basis, whose top of recall I would be. Yeah, there are 5 or 10 odd people I have written down in my diary as a note for myself, that okay, these 10 people you will have to meet on occasional basis, business or no business. You will have to go and be on top of their recall, because they are the people who had helped you in your tough times, and now you have to be with them. So that is where my notion of or my idea of someone who could be a mentor to you is there.
That's great. So second section is about evolving trends in influencer marketing. How have the rise of micro influencers changed the influencer marketing landscape?
So we'll have to understand the logic behind why we want to activate a particular set of influencers. Okay, na? So market is also evolving. Market is learning what will a particular set of influencers bring back, what kind of value to me. So at a point of time, we would unconsciously do a run of influencers, as in there will be certain mega influencers, 1 or 2 mega, there'll be macro, there'll be a sub layer of micro, and there will be sub layer of nano influencers. We just used to do it. We never knew why we do it. But now, because of so much data pointers which have been collected right now we know why we're activating a particular set of influencers and the reasons behind it. When you say of macro, the charm of macro is, just give me a second. I have these dogs. I'm so sorry. You'll have to just pause for a second.
No
worries. I'll just try to calm them. Otherwise, they'll bark all the way journey. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So this is the fun part of online. You never know what might come and stop a particular conversation which is happening. But yeah, so we were speaking about macro. The charm of macro is that they are somewhere in the lines between mega and micro, which means that they are somewhere between 100,000 and above kind of a follower, and every brand and every other aspect of agency has their own set of who is a mega, who's a micro. But then there is a clear understanding that celebrity having a 10,000 follower is a celebrity. Celebrity having a 10 million follower is a celebrity. Then there are people who are not celebrity, but they are on the verge of becoming celebrities, or they are able to just break their ice of or break their current performance to a next level where they end up being in the lines of celebrities. So they are there. So these guys are very much not costly. They're ready to do a longer kind of a deal. If you ask me what kind of a longer kind of a deal is that, if you want to endorse a program with a celebrity, it will charge a lot of money. It will end up being as good as a ambassador program. But when you look at macro, because these people are good people who've created their audiences and followers because of their content pieces, because of their high relevance to the market, these people are a little bit less expensive, though they also charge a bomb, but they are not that hard, and they're also ready to adjust here left and right center. So it's more about the comfort of you working with them,
and they're also ready to do different experiment also. So a lot of big influencer, they have their set rules. They go in that direction only. But the benefit with the micro influencer and a small influencer is that they are open for the experiment and the new things.
Yes, experimentation, very rightly put. Yes, they're open to experimentation, and also because they understand the need of the hour, they're also very much open for longer term relationships. For example, you do a 10 post deal with them, based on multiple formats. So they're quite open to it. Wherein if you ask a celebrity for that kind of endorsement, it becomes a very challenge. And second, the most part we kind of lot of time negate it or not look at it, is the part wherein celebrities are not content creators. They are the people of face value, or who kind of achieved a stardom because of their because of the movies or the TV series or whatever XYZ persona they built it. They're not content creators. Each piece of content that you want to shoot with them, you'll have to send a camera team. With these content creators who are in this zone of macro and all, they know how to put content. Though they also have their biases, they'll say, okay, I will not speak, my audience doesn't like this and that, but we'll have to accept and address that fact that, okay, they know what kind of content their audience likes. But with keeping those content pieces within the guardrails of brand guidelines. This is where it is, but yes, they are quite, supportive in terms of working long-term deals.
Okay. So, what role do you see that video platform like YouTube and other playing an important role in evolving influencer marketing field?
So video is if you look at if you keep aside the these influencers from the regular business, if you look at it as a common person, like a marketer like you and me, what has the market told us recently? That people have stopped reading. Earlier, at a point of time, blogs were the biggest thing. But if you look at the blogs with domain, you won't find a very good domain authority unless and until it's a very, blog which is read by people because of its political in nature or because of its, scientific approach.
But blogs still remains the pivotal part of the SEO marketing part.
See,
Because it is the king, whether it is text or the video, it is the king. But from an influencer point of view, I agree that until unless that domain has a good authority, the blogs will not will play that important role.
Apart from it also, no, because we understand business, these blogs are still in existence because of they primarily help a lot in SEOs. So let's also accept it, because that is why. But if you look at the number of books that are being sold currently worldwide, the number has drastically reduced. So people have eventually stopped reading. So it's the original cohort of people who've been reading books. They are the new ones. I don't think so. A growth of old people has increased. In fact, you can see, wherever you go to someone's home, you'll find more of a digital libraries there rather than when I was growing up. I used to see a lot of people, or my father himself had a library. But then that phenomena is dying, which kind of points to the fact that people have stopped reading. Now, also the second part is that if you look at the way people also behave, is that now people have think that my like is of high value. They do not also like and engage with a particular post. So this is where the drastic shift has come. So this is why your platforms, YouTube platforms or video platforms come with that is the 10 second is a minimum wherein I'll take an ad has been seen, or a 2 second or 3 second is wherein a meta says okay 3 seconds is where I believe someone is there for 3 seconds on my video, the video has been seen. So this is why these logics have to be kind of built in. So but if you look at
I
future,
remember.
yeah, please.
So sorry. So I remember when we from agency side, when we used to go for a training workshop in Facebook, Google, they used to insist that if in first 3 seconds if user is hooked, then they will look at the entire video 3 to 5 seconds. And apart from that, if you're not able to hook them in initial initial phase of your ad, they will you lost the game. As simple as that.
Yes, that is where it. So this is where it links to the original conversation that where I had said in that okay, the starting frame is very important, wherein the audience will say,
Yes.
okay, I want to see this particular content piece or not. Yes,
Yes.
so the game. The game has evolved in terms of analytics and all, but the logic remains the same. Yeah.
Are there any emerging platform or a format that you believe will be a game changer in near future?
In fact, video is the way forward, and podcast is the way future, because this format
Okay.
will stay for at least we'll see next few years in a very healthy manner. And so why people would want to listen to podcasts is that people are bored with old pieces of content. So if you look at wisely, podcast is nothing, it's a dialogue between two people or a round table between
Yes.
multiple people, where people come with
Yes.
their own ideas and thoughts and approaches, and they say okay, this is what I believe, and the other person says okay, I believe, or I counter it. So this is where it is. So it's a dialogue, and what I see the format which will happen in the coming times is that this conversation will be limited. Very less conversation will happen online. A lot of people will participate on offline conversation, like
Offline.
auditorium, or they'll take studios wherein they should call guests and they'll shoot a particular video. But the publishing will always happen online. So I'll not deny it and say okay, online will go. The publishing and other aspects of the business will happen online, but the presence will be more offline. So people I've also seen this as a nature in people that could be a result of pandemic, that people really want to meet people and they want to sit and spend some quality time people. In fact, I had done a LinkedIn post few times back, that few months back, that I was coming back from Bangalore or someplace. We had this meeting, and I was there in this Tara or some flight. I was there. Now what they had done is that the whole process, wherein the air hostess explains you the emergency doors and everything. Now what they're doing is that they've just installed a screen wherein everything is very much visible. Now they give you an earphone, you plug into the earphone into the system and onto the screen, and you're listening to what she's saying right now. Now there are options of languages also. What eventually will happen is that these type of exercises will become more evident. Now this interaction of me and you meeting in person will carry a lot more value. So it will be a premium that we say okay, we are meeting in person, it must be of high value. So this is where I think the shift of thought in media will happen.
Okay, great. So digital has already disrupted a lot of business, lot of the way we used to interact. But yes, people are still they want to detox themselves and they want to meet people, whether virtually or in person. In person has a very different value in everyone, right? And as you said, and going forward, people will meet and record that, and obviously publish in digital format. Yes.
Yeah. So because see, when you're doing something live like this, a lot of people are not very excellent speakers. So there is this
Yes.
conscious brain which is always acting on the back of our whole body, not only in our head.
Yes.
Is that the way we sit, the way we try to present ourselves, that we try to look at the cameras, is that we are quite conscious at that moment. And when you're just focused on other aspects rather than conversation, and if I say something bad or something stupid comes out of my mouth, I'll be get trolled on internet. When that kind of fear is there in your head, the original conversations will not come out. So the whole idea is to bring out original conversation. How we can get it delivered is the question. This is where the formats like podcast and those roundtables is becoming quite popular. Yeah.
So coming back to our third part of the section, which is building partnership and alliance. Now, what is your approach to identify and establish partnership in influencer marketing?
So for me, I would say we are a very established business in influencer marketing. We've seen the thick and the thin of the business because it's been almost a 10-year-old business. ठीक है ना? For anyone who's entering into the business of influencer marketing, I would tell them that please do not always think the way bigger agencies or bigger firms are working. Look at what fits your requirement as of now. Currently, what fits your requirement? If you've got a team size of say 20 people and you need to deliver their salaries, you should look at what are the best possible techniques I must deliver so that my team size keeps on growing and I'm able to retain them, keep them happy. For a business like mine, where the challenges surface to a different level because now you're 130 plus people team, we have to look at margins also. We also have to look at who are the good people to work with, who would add value to our business. For us, the target brands becomes the heavy spenders on influencer marketing, and these brands are technically in the space of technology and FMCG. Why? Because their demands are very niche. Technology changes every 45-50 days. FMCG is always struggling because of the new partners that are already there, because generally FMCG is an impulse based purchase, so they have to be on the top of the buyer's recall. So that's where a player like us, who are a little bit known in the industry, they go for that kind of business. For anyone new who's entering into the business, they should look at how to manage or maintain the teams. They should go with brands that are comfortable to work with, so that a lot of iteration is not happening in their end, because there will be technical issues with them, because they will be challenged in terms of technology. They will be challenged in terms of having those creative teams. These are very practical challenges they will face and they'll come across. So they should fight one battle at a time and then move forward. So they should not try to address 7 or 8 problems that a business is facing at this moment or at one point of time. Then there is a growth phase wherein they would enter into that space, and that's where they will be able to address those problems.
Okay. How do you maintain long-term partnership in rapidly changing industry?
See, it's very difficult. Either it's the constant phase of continuously evolving, continuously finding out new ways of making your partners happy, and be able to service their needs and ask as and when they have it, and even also taking proactive measures like, okay, you see something which is happening in the current, for example, like if you look at it, the masala industry is in a lot of chaos. Or if your partners are already in the masala industry and you know that okay, that heat might come to them, you create a strategy before they even coming back to you, and they say, okay boss, this is what my masala industry is coming. You go to them and say, boss, this is what is happening in the market right now, you should start doing this. So you go and you work as a consultant with them, telling them, okay, this is what eventually is happening in the market. Now I want you to do this all type of activations or bring out all those old content pieces. We will relive them. So you have to look at their problem, what they're going through right now, or what might come in future, and then you create a solution for them basis the need of the hour. This is where it is. And it's always a game of keeping your clients happy. If the client is happy, he or she moves nowhere. Yeah. And this goes to our relationship, which is almost
client is always right, but that's not true.
That is not true. See, in fact, client is never right. You put it on an email saying that, oh, I've had clients who say, no, I want to do this only. I tell them, no, this won't work for you. No, I want this only, because there are a lot of people who come from different. I just put gently and very politely on an email saying that, sir, we suggest you this, but if you want me to do this, I will do it. But if going with this might bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of challenges. You say okay on it, I go with it. So because a lot of time, the conversation when people are speaking on phone, they themselves forget what they spoke about it. It's better to leave a minute of the meeting with them saying that, boss, we both peacefully agree on this and this is what is happening. This is how it is. Yeah,
it happens a lot in corporate.
Yes.
Yeah. So people give verbal brief and they forget what they have given. Yeah, yes. I understand. I've been there for almost all sides of table. I understand.
Yes. So yeah, you are very, very, very well addressed with the challenges that happen at either ends.
Yeah, true. So can you share any success story of a partnership that had a significant impact on your business?
So I'll just take you through what happened with Pepsi. So at a point of time, Pepsi was one of the biggest clients that we always, we used to see our competitor agencies working with Pepsi, and we were always like, okay, when will we get to work with these kind of brands like Pepsi's of the world, Adidas of the world? Because though I'll not get into spends and all, but I'll say though these are very lucrative or very exciting brands that you go back and you tell your friends and your family and your parents and your XYZ, whoever you know, oh yeah, we're working with a Pepsi for this wonderful campaign. So we always wanted to do that. So what had happened in the time frame was that somewhere in 18 or 19, so the Qoruz, our technology which helps us find the right fit of influencers. It's, to keep it simple, it's a platform wherein you could say it's like LinkedIn for influencers and brands. So Pepsi had showed interest on working with us, and initially they wanted our technology for their day-to-day movements or day-to-day activations. So that's where the initial conversation had happened, and few people had helped us install at Qoruz at Peppers. Simultaneously, what had happened because of that interaction, we started speaking to a lot of brand managers, marketing people, corporate communications people, and then that relationship, came to a point in wherein they say, okay, you already have my technology. Why don't you work with our agency and deliver us some solutions which is around activations of influencers. And that point of time, TikTok was had initially entered Indian market, and it was huge. So I'm just so happy telling it right about it. We did one of the first campaign of TikTok, which was Har Goot Mein Swag Hai, and it got around staggering. The last recall I have of views was 9.7 billion views.
Oh my God!
So that's yeah. So it puts you in a doubt as a marketer also. But now the data that came from platform, I could vouch on that also only. But yes, 9 billion views is a huge number. I mean, yeah. So I was really.
Yes. So you said 9 billion views, right?
9.5 billion views.
9.5 billion views. I mean, it is like humongous, right? It is like reaching out to audience multiple times.
Yes.
Dimag mein chhap gaya actually. It is like that.
Chhap gaya hai. Now it also, when we're talking about data, when we're talking about a lot of things, it puts you also in the question. What do you think will be the size of people on internet search? Plain internet. I'm not saying platforms and all.
So penetration is around 60%.
Which is? Which kind of?
60% of Indian population.
No, I am saying globally.
No, globally, I don't have number.
So at that point of time, there were only around 8 billion people or something, 7 billion people on Earth.
Oh.
So a lot of times that the what platforms throw out as data is under question also. But that doesn't comprehend that the art that people saw it, because UGC was also humongous. UGC was in double digits and thousands. So that means people were participating on it. And in fact, the campaign went so well that if the government policies would have not interrupted, or TikTok would have agreed to what government of India wanted, the Pepsi's of the world would have continuously spent on it. Because it was so huge. I remember 2019 itself. We were there in Indonesia, and I was surprised to see Stone Crushers ad on TikTok. So people were trying to sell Stone Crushers on TikTok that point of time. But then if you look at the way those Southeast Asian countries function is also very different. I don't know if you ever did this in India ever. But, they used to use Twitter as a video platform. So what they would do is that they would just click on a video, and then they would just try to scroll the videos on Twitter itself. So TikTok would have taken all those learning globally and would created a platform which daily people wanted. So I would give to the creators of TikTok that they were able to create a platform which was very different and very ahead of what others would have thought.
Yes. So you have launched Qoruz in Indonesia. What were the process like to launch in Indonesia? What were the key steps that you took?
So, Suresh, we are a bootstrap company. I'll be very honest. So every penny that we earn as a company is spent into businesses or the formats of business that we want to try, and it's done very wisely. So when we had gone to Indonesia to sell Qoruz, or initially try to figure out whether the Qoruz could be a possible tool for for Indonesia, is that we did a lot of R&D at our end, which is in India itself. We have deployed our marketing team, wherein they were trying to figure out who could be the possible, players who would want to interact with us and would appreciate a product like Chorus. That's what done by marketing team. Now, when that kind of data was built in, now we try to segregate the data into two key learnings of India market, which is who are the key players in India who are using our platform. So at that point of time, FMCG and auto partners were using Chorus very heavily. So a lot of auto players had Chorus and a lot of FMCG players had Chorus because their needs were as such. So we thought, okay, we'll only go after these two kind of categories, and agencies were kind of facilitating this kind of conversation. So what we did is that we went to Indonesia. We spoke to around 7 or 8 different partners. Then there is this company called BTEG. It's an Indonesian firm. So we spoke to them. Finally, we kind of got into an understanding with each other. We did an MOU of partnership, and then we gave them two types of rights. First is that you can use Chorus for your own pitches and FDI spend, for which they were happily to pay. Now we also did a second part of the deal wherein they can go ahead and sell the product to their partner brands. Amazing. So two types of partnerships were done, and in fact they were able to sell Chorus to Hyundai Indonesia at that point of time.
No, great.
Yeah.
Great.
So
cultural or
our role was minimal, but yes, we did facilitate all the support from India. And then there was a 3-year lockdown wherein we could not travel to any part of the world. So that way, our current penetration in Indonesia has come back to where it was in 2019 and 19. But yes, unless and until we go back there, yeah. But these markets are very, very, very opportunity fit.
There were any cultural or regional consideration while you were launching this in that Indonesian market? Any consideration of regarding the local belief or something like that? There is a way of doing business in every country, right? So what kind of consideration you have done by launching?
So my experience working with different people across different countries is that first of all, I really appreciate and I would give kudos to all people are in our country that we people work really very hard. We stretch those extra hours that are needed to make a business success. So we people are working on very thin timelines, and we like to deliver to our promises, and we do extend our working hours. So this is something which we are kind of getting brought up with. What I found in Indonesia was that first of all, the language is a huge challenge for it. In fact, if in India you go to an agency, or it could be in any agency, if you just want to say something in English, I think 99% of the people will understand it. It will not become a challenge. For us in Indonesia, that was a bigger challenge because the local language still has a huge control over its way of working. So English people do understand, they might not be able to very effectively, communicate with you. So language was a proper kind of a barrier, and secondly, the working patterns were very different. They would like to spend few hours for themselves, which is a very nice way. They were not like in our ways. They do not work the way we work in India. So they would you would find them lot of times you'll find them from post lunch hours, sitting a lot of them in coffee shops and just enjoying the breaks in a very excellent manner. It's something they have this fortune of. This is the only challenge. And second, yes, labor laws are very strict. They are not like in our country, which I appreciate them very much because the labor laws have to be strong for larger benefit. In fact, what I came across was very surprising to me at that point of time. I don't know how true it was, because once hearing that from few people, we thought, okay, this will not be a very good solution for us, and it will be very difficult for us. Is that if you hire someone from the native of Indonesia, if you want to fire them, so you have to pay them almost 6 to 1 year salary if you plan to fire them, given to the underperformance. Yes. So that is where we thought, okay, we are not in a very strong situation right now wherein we would like to take a decision like that. So that's where we thought, okay, for us, servicing will not be a solution for that part of the world. Rather, we will sell technology. So that's where we only kind of concentrated on finding new deals of selling Qoruz as a technology to them. Because they already working there, they already have their rule books as per the country guidelines. So it's easy for them to manage their teams and across. So this is where it is.
So in India, what I've seen in the larger political discussion that we have to dilute our laws. I mean, especially the labor laws, to get more investment from the outside, so that we can start manufacturing. We can start providing more services. But Indonesia is also growing very fast, given last few years data. If you see, and it is like you don't have to actually dilute your law. It will happen, right? It's the right kind of environment you have to create, right kind of talent you have to provide, and it will happen irrespective of what kind of law is there or not. And anyway, this is going in a political discussion. Let's leave it here only.
No. See, it's okay. We'll have to understand also how people behave. Largely, if you look at Indonesia, it's not political. It's also, see, what is politics? Politics is people only. And what defines a culture or a country or an organization is that the way people are. In fact, if you go to a Christian country, be it England or some places wherein their rules are that ways, you find the eating habits or the restaurants or their or their lobbies filled with the same kind of people, because it's the way the land is. You find them, they start early, they end offices by 5 p.m. Indonesia is a Muslim country by its all government rules, so they'll function the way they it is. If you find people going out on a Friday because they have to go and worship, it's their country, they have to do it. But in India, in fact, we do not have any kind of such leeways. I mean, for everything, you have to work in a very secular thread that has been devised, and government wants you to work and believe in. So that's you live as per the rule of the land. Yeah? If offices close at 5 p.m.,
definitely.
My whole of my family, as you know, is into IT and all. Now when they went to, we all come from very gentle backgrounds. None of us have been coming back from. We know how we did our masters and everything from loans and everything. So when they went to UK and all, they had this dream of making tons of money, and in fact they made a lot of money out of it also. But then they used to come back and tell me stories like, okay, the watchman would come or the security guard would come at 4:30. They would say 1 or 2 times, they will say, "Sir, you work very late. This is lock and key. If you do not leave by 5 p.m., you'll have to lock the office." But have you ever seen that in India? Never.
Never.
So we also change as per the environment, no? So he said, I used to leave office by 5 o'clock. I would land up at office at 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock I leave. So that is how it is. In India, it's still slogging his 16 hours job. So this is what happens,
Yes.
We will have to accept the law of the land. This is where it ends.
Yeah. What were the biggest challenge you faced, and how you have overcome during launching days of that Qoruz in Indonesia?
So to make people understand, again, coming back to the original conversation, is confirmatory bias. People already say, oh, brands also done that, been there kind of situation. Oh, I know my influencers like in and out. In fact, they'll know cost better than you. But then this is not where it all ends. So we'll have to just fight the confirmatory bias. Initially, I remember when we were trying to, show Qoruz as a technology to people, we were really laughed at. In the sense they said, okay, why this business will never grow that big. This was the real conversation real input I've got for many marketers. They said this business will never grow this big. Now look at it. It's not. It's like influencer marketing is eating into a lot of other businesses, which have been there for hundreds of years. The budget shifts I have seen at a point of time. Suresh, we used to talk. Give me 5 lakh rupees out of your marketing budget. At a point of time, we used to talk this way. To this point, now we say, okay, why do you want to do this activation? What result will it bring? Shift all that money into influencer marketing. Work with me, work with someone else. So this is where the business has grown. The business has shown this much, growth. So that is where it is there. Yeah, it is an essential part of our media mix. Let's not look at influencer marketing as an isolated business, because challenges are same. Data frauds and everything is same. Content creation takes the same challenge as working with a studio house. So the challenges are same, and the delivery is also equally same, and the people charging money is equally heavy.
Yes, yes.
I know creators who charge as much around a CR for an activation. Would you believe that?
I know.
So this is where the business is, yeah. So we have to
I
think wisely
remember.
before doing anything.
Yeah, I remember in initial days when we were discussing that there is no a platform like there was for a media buying platform. There is no single platform from where we can gauge all the influencer. There is no single platform where we can track, where we can evaluate, and uh, and that gap you guys have filled in.
Yes, that space we filled in. Yes, that, and also, initially you started this conversation with the reporting standpoint of the or point of view of the influencer activity. So we had addressed these problems today somewhere in 19 and 20 only. Right now, if you get an opportunity, if you get a chance to look at Chorus, the tool is very much different. Initially, we used to present it as a search engine and a planning tool, if you could remember, and a reporting tool. Now we don't go out in the market and say we are a search engine or a reporting tool or a these are tools that we have. These are elements of the tool, but we are right now an analytics firm, because the data pointers that we have around influencers is huge. Rather, celebrities, anyone who has open profile and is there on the internet, on social platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Meta and all, we've got tons and tons of data pointers around them. So we like to present ourselves as an analytics platform.
Okay, great. This brings us to the next part of our podcast, navigating multicultural environment. What are the common missteps that business do while expanding in different cultural environment?
See, we'll have to look at it a very open outlook, Suresh. We'll have to detach business from the individual. What I mean is that, see, if I am a owner, or I am, for example, running a particular business, I have to detach myself from the business, because a lot of time, the way I want things is not the way the people who are working for you would want it. For example, right now, if you look at it, the new breed of kids that are coming to the industry are from a different school of thought. Now, if you want them to work the way we initially started our careers in any industry, they will not, because they have this idea, or they have this clear notion in their head that this is me, this is my work, this is my salary, this is my output. So you can't go ahead and go back with them and fight with them, because they are the new generation workers, or they will be the tomorrow. They will be tomorrow's leaders. So what we do in Chorus, something I can say, I cannot comment about how industry should behave, but rather what we do, I'll tell you on it. So what we've done is that we've created a presidential club. Or what happens in this president's club is that we've handpicked people from different domains from the same company for the same business that we have. For example, we've got people from servicing, we've got people from creative, we've people from tech, and people from sales, BD, environment, and strategy. So what happens is that, so this is a group of say 7-8 people. Now, what if so? But to be in this cohort, you have to be very excellent performer. You'll have to be not 1 or 2%, but like 15-20% above the average. So when you're able to achieve that success goal, now you work with the leadership directly. And in fact, so if for example, I have been able selected for this role, and if you want me to, if I come to you and say, okay, Suresh, I would want to work with the creator director, and I am from a BD guy, we give that leeway. Okay, we said, okay, you go ahead and you work with the BT team, or the creative team. And a creative guy comes to me and says, Deepak, I would want to be a part of your team. We say, okay, yes, come and be a part of the team. So this President's Club is a team, is a group of really excellent ninjas who are not hidden. They're very much open. Company knows about it. People know about it. They have other capacities of ninja rather than camouflage. Is that they get the best clients to work upon. For example, we find Recruitment guys as a client, and we say, okay, this is the client we want to onboard. This is the team that will work on it. The sales guy will do the lead. He will create strategies across it and how to onboard that particular client. This is what we do as a company. So this what happens is that people just try to stretch a little bit more, not in terms of hours spent or other spends, but in terms of thinking beyond the regular to be part of the squad, so that they are able to onboard new clients. This is what a business wants, and then it becomes a green pressure for everyone. More incentives, more better perks. You get to stay in the best of the hotels, you get to travel in the best of the flights, you get to eat in the best of the restaurants. This is an additional benefit that kind of comes with it.
Yes, yes, yes.
to work as per the demand and supply rule.
I understand. I understand. So cross-functional team management. What strategy do you use to build collaboration among cross-functional team? That's a very
Mm,
tricky part.
very tricky part. And so it was a huge challenge, Suresh. So because I've been there, I've seen this company from 7 8 people to 100 plus people, 120 plus people. So we've seen that gradual growth. It's not like it happened overnight. There were at a
Yes.
point of time there were 50 people, then there were 75, there were 100, then there were 80, then 120, then 100. So I've seen that gradual growth. So what earlier I used to, as an individual, used to speak to every pawn, to every general of the vertical. Now what I, as a team player, do is that I just try to listen to what the problem is junior guy is facing. Then I go ahead and speak to the head, saying this is the problem this particular guy is facing, and this is my problem, and how to address it, and how will you help me kind of find a solution to it. So what I'll give you a recent example what had happened. So a lot of salespeople were trying to onboard a lot of clients, because this presidential suite that I spoke to you was very enticing for salespeople, because they are already on the front line of the business, and now it's easy for them to onboard clients, no? So what had happened was that a lot of time of they would go to a brand manager or a marketing head. They would pitch them the idea. Now just what eventually what started happening was that the brand manager or marketing guy would come to them and say that, give me an idea, then I will
Mhm.
work with you. Now, a lot of time, brand managers and marketing people do not want to be sound, assholeish, or a very kind of a arrogant kind of people in front of salespeople. They just try to shoo
Mhm.
them away. They use this technique. So what we
Mhm.
did was that we said that, well, this is not a rule, right? Because seven salespeople, they go out to seven brand managers, and in a week's time they reach into 30 brand managers. Now 15 of
Mhm.
them or 20 of them say, come back to me with ideas. How will the poor creative guy create an idea? So what we
Yes.
did is that we created market decks, which means a category
Mhm.
that, for example, if there is a problem which hospitality is facing, we come back to you and say that this is the problem that we see in hospitality. If this works for you, give me a
Mhm.
proper brief based on these rules and your problem statement. We'll come back to you with creative ideas. So
Mhm.
what eventually started happening is that our unnecessary burden on creative people, wherein they were making decks in and out, had reduced. Now they work on limited decks, which have more potential chances of getting more better results. So this is where it has done. So working with cross-functional team is that to listen to them and then speak to the people, and uh, then know the rule of love and hunter.
So how do you manage conflict or differentiating priority within your cross-functional team?
So I have this clear thing in my head, Suresh. What is
Mhm.
urgent and what is important? People, it's an
I
evident
know.
rule, and it is where people always fight, because you were asking someone to work at Friday night at 11 o'clock for your campaign. That guy will, or that person will never be happy, or that girl will never be happy. They'll have this bad taste. So
Mm.
you'll have to, if you're making then someone work on this odd hours, you'll have to repay them in some other ways. Either you give them some other time which is free, or give them a comp off, or you take them out on some other day and you kind of treat them with whatever they're liking of food and taste of beverages. That ways you do it. uh, you know Conflict management is a big thing, because a lot of time conflicts are generally ego based.
Yes.
Why not me types. So just try to understand, and just to try to tell them, people, make people understand, because this is the way the company functions, this is where you have to deliver it. And my learning is that a lot of time when problems are told to people on one-on-one, they generally understand. If they're still adamant and still are not ready to bend a little bit here and there, then some other measures have to be taken. But then that's
Mm.
a common rule across. I think it's what you've been doing. There's
Mm.
nothing much. But yes, working with the new kids, you will have to be a little bit more open and more acceptance. More acceptance has to come in. Like me, a 40-year guy cannot think the way a 20-year Deepak would think, or a 40-year
Obvious.
Deepak would.
Obvious.
So I have to think how I was filled with energy that point of time, and given to the excess of information these kids have, where they what they're
Mm.
thinking and where they want to go. So this is why
Mm.
we also do is that a lot of times, because of the limitations of a particular category that we are in, which is influencer marketing. We do invite a lot of people from industry to come and have talks at our office. What happens is that now these kids are able to have new perspective. How would a marketing guy would think? How would a media planner would think? And how would a creative director would think? And how would a business owner will think? So these guys,
Yes.
these kids, try to get whatever they try to get in this 40-45 minutes conversation.
Mhm. Can you share some example or any example that you can share that cross-functional team work played a crucial role in its success?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, well, cross-function teams, I'll tell you how we do what we're doing right now is that. So we had this always this ever existent conflict that, okay, why certain people are always getting the best of the brands, and then we thought of the idea of residential club, which is very different. Why certain people are always getting the best of people to work with and all. This was the constant clinch between us and sales and operations people. So what we started doing is that we created a internal group in our team. So it's only account directors and above. What we do is that we try to put up a problem there. For example, few days back, a very leading technology brand had come to me, to one of the sales guys, and they wanted to do an activation around influencers with us. So there are 10 or 12, challenges where they want to activate in West, they want to activate it in South, where language, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam is a challenge that people don't know what to do there. So what we do is that, so our company is spread across India. We've got people from South, with people from West. So what we do is that these people, these account directors, we try to marry to one or two people's understanding together. So we have this resource who's been managing Samsung's one of the largest program for creators, which is Galaxy Creators Program. Now, what she does is that it's a very excellent learning for everyone and for industry also. She manages around, say, 600, 700 odd influencers and gets around 12 to 13,000 content pieces out of these set of influencers. And in fact, it's a barter program, so no one is getting paid. And all these are good people to work with. Now she comes with a very excellent learning of phone brands for a brand like Samsung for almost a year plus. Now this brief lends to these people who are from South, and now they are able to understand the regional challenges that comes with local influencers. Now if I let this particular person work on a South aspect business, he'll come out with the problem that these people are facing in terms of current problems. Now this girl understands the problem of technology. Now when these two brains come together, they're able to come to a common consensus. So when they are working together, now they're able to deliver a better solution for the brand. So this is where we try to create a conflict into them. Then it's also always, and then it's my client, you've been into something. Merko nahi mila, usko mila. That is always going on, but we try to fill in the gaps with whatever brands we have. So if you're already working with one phone brand, why would you need another phone brand? We say, if you're working with a phone brand, take a FMCG brand. Diverse your learning also.
Diverse your learning. Right. So any advice would you like to give anyone who is trying to be in influencer marketing field? What kind of skills or expertise they should have before entering the field?
In terms of what if they're trying to start a business, is it from a BD standpoint that you're asking, or a servicing standpoint, or it's a holistic approach that you?
So anyone who is looking at influencer marketing as a career, not as a content creator, I'm just saying as a career.
As a career. So anyone who's listening to this, who might come across this video on internet, I would just say, because it's a very booming industry, it's a very industry which is there to stay. What you need to do is that you need to have a little bit certifications, because certifications matter. They add kind of a filter to your resume getting selected into multiple resumes. Is that go and work on platforms like Qoruz or Hype Auditor, or wherever you get to work on platforms, because the world is moving from you calling to an influencer and getting data pointers to a real-time availability of data. Up your game by working on technologies which are there in the market. Read a little bit about influencer marketing, and just learn the art of communications. Communication in the sense how to deliver your message in limited lines, and jokes never killed anyone.
It is true for every field. It's not just for influencer marketing. It's true for every field. Even in tech also, if you are an effective communicator, you will grow.
Yes, so for example, see, the at a beyond a point, it's all about the way you are able to make people understand what
Yes.
you're trying to say. So that's where it is, because already all everyone's trying to service some sort of problem from their expertise angle. That is there, and just to coming back to the original conversation, is that the industry is growing ever. It will be huge. In given times, influencer campaigns will be much more larger. To this, how can I say this? Is that first of all, just take me as a grandfather in the industry who's been there for very long. Secondly, I have seen a very kind of a change in the way brands are working, and these are very huge brands. These are not your small brands. These are the sharks. Now, what they are doing is that they are taking this conversation offline. And what I mean by offline is that a lot of influencer activations are happening. That means events are happening. So influencers are not only a social diva right now; their presence in offline world is also very great. So that means this industry is there for to stay for very long, and huge potential for people who want to look at as a career angle. But yeah, I would suggest, if you want to just look at influencer marketing, but also learn about the other aspects of the business, which is the 96 or 95% of the other businesses, which is media, creative, and all. So you are able to come out as a perfect marketer.
What are the common mistakes do you see that a newcomer does in this field?
Primarily not reaching out to the whosoever they are doing from a business standpoint. They'll not try to reach out to the right people. They do not ask right questions, because a lot of times, a lot of them themselves do not know what the right questions are. If you look at it from a sales angle or a BD angle, what I have learned is that they do not know who to talk to. This is the worst of all problems, which comes out from a BD angle. From a servicing angle, is that they are not sure whether, see, if you are an influencer, I call you for an activation. If I call you, say I'll call, hey Suresh, I did see you're very good on Instagram and XYZ, and I would want to do an activation with you for Instagram Reels. Now, Suresh, when I'm talking to Suresh, what I eventually do not extend this conversation to this pointer where I say, okay, what is your static cost charge? What is your, you're there on YouTube, what do you charge for a YouTube short? What do you charge? So they do not try to collect as much data pointers around other guy. So they're just doing one focus job. Okay, get a real cost will go, and they just try to get a cost for you. This is where it is. So this is, but then this is what I also see is that it's a constant learning or a learning for them also. So this is where it is. Mistakes, yeah, I would say learn from mistakes. That is what I would like to end it. Is that don't repeat it. Even if it repeats, just acknowledge it before and only. If you've done something stupid, just tell your managers, okay, this is something stupid I have done. Help me out before it becomes a blunder for anyone. A lot of times, so a lot of times we are like, so we've got cost as a parameter in our technology, but then these costs are very much dependent upon the kind of activation you want. Or if you want someone to attend and do a reel for you from a store, the cost will variably increase because the person has to travel, and where he has to or she has to travel, food and other aspects of the elements of the conversation. Now, we had this kid who used to give this cost on tool, and some other time the cost was for an activation which was off-road. This guy took the cost and didn't tell his manager. Somehow they were able to, speak to the influencer and say, boss, do it, we'll pay you a little bit from our margins. But this is where the learning comes in, once you've done a stupid mistake, do not try to repeat it again. That is there. And if you've done something, please be open and honest about it, that it's been done by me, and I would try not to do it again. See, error is human, error is human, as they say, and it takes a computer. It takes a computer to fuck the world. So it's very common for humans to error.
Yes. We are all human. We make mistakes, but it is important to learn from that and not to repeat and accept it immediately, instead of blaming others that this had happened because of this situation. Accept it and move forward. That is what I believe.
Yeah, if you're working, you're bound to make mistakes. Yeah. So when we were trying to call people at that point of time, I was starting the initial journey of Qoruz for Delhi. A lot of CRM tools were not there available, and in fact, it also depends upon the size of business you want to take a CRM. I used to end up calling a lot of people again and again in a long phase of time. Then I learned my art. I used to say, okay, I called Suresh on Monday, I'll call him on Friday or next week. So I started maintaining diary. But earlier, when you were in hunch of business or hungry for business, a lot of time people used to say, oh, I'll complain you to XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. Then you started saying, okay, you're also interfering into other people's time and space. So learnings do not repeat it on regular basis. See, again, Suresh, error is human. It takes a computer to screw up things. So we should be okay that if you're working with humans, error will happen.
So this is the next question is my most favorite question: building personal brand. Why it is like, how can a aspiring marketer build their personal brand and credibility in this industry? But it is not for aspiring marketers. It is for everyone, for you, for me, for everyone who is in industry and showcase their work. They want to build their own identity. And what advice you would give?
I would say, Suresh, that you are a far more mature marketer than I have. You've seen much more businesses than I have. I come from a limited knowledge of influencer marketing and the other aspects of people have been trying to help and support in their businesses, especially in marketing domain. Is that keep on reading, see what is happening in contemporary industries, what other people are doing, in other parts of the world. Keep yourself updated, read more, because a lot of time, these chats do not give you that much intelligence other than the articles that are published somewhere. That's where the real gold is. For your own personal brand, be present in as many as social platforms as you can be. I'm taking LinkedIn also as a visibility is the key. Yes, I take LinkedIn as a social platform.
Yeah, we tell our marketer visibility is the key, and we don't implement that on ourselves.
Yes, and in fact, like, let's not take our social handles as a scrapbook. We have to be very wise how would the market would perceive us, because being in marketing, we know it's a perception game. So that's where how would market perceive, and just avoid making it as a scrapbook. And be regular in pushing your thoughts.
Yes, that is true. And I've been telling this to a lot of my friends and a lot of my colleagues that they if they are struggling to find a job, then it's most important to build yourself, build your brand, build your visibility around what you are expert, and eventually it will happen. I mean, what you expect, it will come to you. But the first step is to build your own identity on the digital world, where it's not just about that I have worked in so and so company, I worked on so and so project, but it's lot more than that, right? What is your thought process in particular direction, right? That is important to portray, that is important to tell to the world that what is there in your head.
Very true, Suresh. Very true. In fact, this is the right approach that everyone should look at. Because if you understand the logic of case studies, the case studies are just a thing which has happened in past. You can't guarantee that it will repeat itself. So it's the same logic. What you've done in past are gone. You can't live by that merit ever. But then certain memories are there to cherish. That I've been able to achieve them, and I should be able to achieve it also. So, but then I have been speaking to a lot of industry people on this, and I find a lot of people in sync with this thought. Is that, see, if you look at digital as an industry, only I am speaking of digital industry. So it's almost 20 years or 18 years old. It's not very very old. The unfortunate part of this industry is that, so people who started, say, very young in their 20s in digital, or in their 25th or 27th years of the job, the unfortunate part is that the timeline or the shelf life of this particular industry is very small for an employee. What I have been seeing is that a lot of people I know, because I've been interviewing so many people, is that the shelf life of this industry has become 47 to 45 years. Even brands are very conscious on hiring people beyond that age. So is it a good part? I would say it's not a very good direction the industry is moving. Not immediate, but there will be certainly long-term harm or long-term results of this action. Not everyone can open an agency. Not everyone should also open an agency. The lot of agencies that are mushrooming around will a lot of them might not be able to see tomorrow's dawn, because the market is this much only, and we're expecting too much out of it. In fact, rather we should have places for veterans in the industry. Say any industry which doesn't value its veteran is just I would say not a very right directional industry. So we have to figure out ways wherein people who've spent say 15-20 years should be at least appreciated by industry in some form.
True.
So that is there.
So it's a saying, survival for the fittest. I mean, irrespective of age, what I believe that if you are able to gauge the change, as we discussed initially, if you are able to embrace it, you will survive. You will thrive. Actually, not survive.
No, I agree with you, and also disagree with you, Suresh, on this one. I agree with you that change is inevitable. Learning new ways of learning platforms is very important. But
Yes.
see, we have to look at it at a very different way. I don't know if you ever know how to, if you like to drive bike or not. Do you like to ride? Do you have a bike and all?
Yeah.
Hello, I missed you, Suresh.
Yeah, I missed you also. Can you repeat?
I said, do you know how to drive? Do you like riding a bike? Is there something?
Yes.
So will you buy say Hayabusa at this age? Or will you go for a
Not
bike
at all.
which is more sound, which is more relaxing to your back and body? We'll go for the second option. Why? Because
it depends.
also
Deepak, it depends. It depends. If you ask me personally, I want to buy Harley Davidson of that kind of bike, right? So it depends. Those are personal choices, but in
I am
general,
saying why would you want to go for a Harley and not for a Hayabusa where your back is always crunched in front and it runs at a 250 270 miles per hour? That is my question. My question is that what kind of a bike you want? Why you want that kind of a bike is that because you would want to first of all go home safely, because there are a lot more people waiting for your home. You got responsibilities. Secondly, it has to be a little bit easy to your back and your lifestyle. No? Why so? Because you are at a point of time wherein the age is also a number which is getting attached to yourself. So this is where I come from. You can't be always on top of every new platform which is come there. And if you ask me today, what's really happening in Snapchat? Are those streaks? What are those streaks? I know there are streaks, but what these streaks do, strikes or streaks, whatever they call them, I really don't know what they are. And in fact, it's same for anyone who's revolving around my age. But then what I mean to say is that there should be a space for anyone who's ready to accept the challenges. I'm not saying that okay, you want to you want to work in an online company and want to work on a paper format. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there has to be a space for veterans also. We should not only try if there's someone who's beyond our age. We should not look at them as a weight and figure out ways to get rid of that individual. Rather, we should find out opportunities for that individual also within the organization. Be moving from say someone from operations to some other aspect to HR, whatever you deem right. Valuing your employees is what I mean to say in the end, Suresh. I think I'll just kind of wind it up and say value your long-term employees who spend their age with you. That is where.
I agree. So next section we will discuss influencer marketing in post-pandemic world. How did the pandemic change the way business approach influencer marketing?
Oh, this is a very excellent question. It's a very, very great question, and it's a very apt question and very rightly timed. So I'll tell you, till 2019-20, influencer marketing was looked at as a vanilla kind of or a standalone kind of a business. Okay, na? Largely, a lot of brands still see it as a standalone business, but it is not. I'll tell you why. I'll just give you a very, very vanilla logic, but then you just try to create outputs out of it. So what had happened was that in 2020, when there was this lockdown had happened and everything was shut, media houses, your places where you shoot and all, was everything closed. In fact, there was no ad, if you remember, for almost a 6 or 7 months period. There was no video content. The influencers' content were the key. Influencers were able to shoot content from their phone, sitting in their homes. This is where the magic happened.
Yes.
This is where the magic happened, Suresh. This is where the magic happened. This is where influencer marketing blew like a bomb.
Yes.
So it was something where your production cost was zero, your reach to the audience was always high, all time high. This is where it kind of took new approach. And what predominantly other part also happened was that brands wanted and agency wanted to experiment the truth of influencer marketing by their end, and how to do it became a challenge. Now what they did is that they started onboarding influencer agencies for longer term deals, for a 2-year partnership or a year partnership. They started making influencer agency like they are AORs for brands. The influencers started becoming AORs for agencies. This is where it shifted. Now what additionally happened was that analytics and information became a very critical part. Brands wanted to see where is my penny spent and with whom I'm spending my penny. So they wanted to know each and everything about it. For example, where their TG comes from, what are the age demographies and other aspects of the learnings from this influencer, how this influencer content pieces performs in a branded versus a non-branded content. So this is where the learnings came from, and technology became an essential part. How I can vouch for it is that from my subscription rate for Qoruz was, say, I had in 2020, I had around 15 partners, 16 partners at maximum. Right now, I sit more than around 55 partners as people who've taken Qoruz as a subscription. 55 partners.
That's
yearly deals. Yes. And in fact, they're not smaller agencies. They're like, smaller brands. They are the market leaders with the torch bearers in their industries. Yes,
so what lasting impact do you think that pandemic will have on influencer marketing trends and strategies?
We'll have to see. It's two things are very clear. That technology will play a very hefty part. IPs will play a very hefty part. IPs with influencers will play a very, very, very critical part. Two things are. I'll take this is one part of the equation I see, that wherein technology and IPs, I take them into one bucket. The second phase of this is that I see a lot of nano or micro influencer marketing getting a real boost. I'll tell you the reason behind is that because like any other industry, this industry is also a little bit going through a bad churn of data fraud. A lot of influencers have been called out for having bot followers. For in fact,
yes,
your Baksha was called out
also recently. Yeah, there was a report that 60% of influencers are having fake follower or bot follower.
Bot followers. So we should not rather call them fake. Either we call them bot or we call them suspicious followers. So I'll tell you why. Because it's something which we can be asked, questioned upon, is that unless and until these giants, which is metas of the world, unless and until they confront and say, boss, this is a fake follower, you can't, because it's their data. You're just pulling data out of their data. Unless and until they step forward and say, okay, this is a proper fraud profile, you can't comment. You'll have to use your own logics.
Yes.
So this is where it is there. And coming back to original thing which is there, why nano or micro will be very huge, especially nano will become very huge in given time, is that, so if you look at the logic, if you want to show ad at a very granular level or a very elementary level, for example, I am there in sector 90 or 95 in Gurgaon. If my brand is very hyper local, which is a kind of a restaurant which is present in this area, how to show ad to people who stay in this area, because my audience is around this area within, say, a parameter of, say, 10 to 15 kilometers around this particular restaurant only, because I won't go beyond that. If I want to eat, I will go to this place. Why nano marketing will work here is that I figure out, say, 100 influencers who stay in this area, and because of data pointers, I know they stay in this area. Because I've seen their engagement, I've seen their every post, I've read everything that I can find about them. Is this the place? Now I activate these 100 influencers. Now I work as a very meta ad or a Facebook ad, wherein I am showing it to the very last guy who's there. So this is where it will become very critical to find out to show your ad to the very right guy in a very systematic manner.
I agree.
So nano marketing will be very huge, and IPs will be very huge in coming time. Analytics and technology is the bundle in which both of them come. You'll see a lot of influencers doing a lot of IPs, long-term deals, say 15 or 20 videos or 5 videos or 10 videos with the stories and all aspects of formats in it. This is where the market is also moving slowly.
So creating a complete packages.
Yes, complete packages, cost effective. You know
Cost
what to get
effective.
out of your
Yes.
influencers. So there is a
Mm,
category block.
mm.
You know this burger won't go out and do a ad with. So if it's doing an ad for boat, will go next day. Will go and do an ad with noise. So
Mm,
that way you are also secure for 6 months. That okay, this is where my advocacy program will run. And apart from
mm,
it, I can do a burst campaign based on my requirement.
mm, mm.
So this is where the
So,
market will eventually move.
so have you observed any shift in consumer behavior post pandemic that are affecting this industry?
Yes. So the new generation has. So in fact, not new generation. I would say this is a phenomena which has been there forever. Kids take a lot of guidance, or they ask a lot of questions to the peers who are the kids of the same age. Now, when an
Mm,
influencer speaks to them, it's a very one-to-one connect.
mm,
So when something is pushed by them, they have a real impact on these kids, and it kind of translates into them coming in large numbers at events, to them buying T-shirts, to them buying cold drinks of the world. This is where the consumer behavior is a little bit shifted, and also it's not one shoe that fits all. For example, if you want to work with homemakers, which are primarily mothers who stay at home, you'll have to find out mothers who they speak to. Like, for example, Gurgaon Mom is a very good platform wherein a lot of mothers go and seek a lot of help with their community on what to buy, what not to buy. So, effectively
mm.
using these communities to deliver your explain your product in a very wise manner is what the strategy would suggest. But then yes, you cannot have one shoe fit all. It's the basis the requirement and basis the product that you have.
Mm, mm, mm. Good. So we are at the last section of our podcast. That is
We almost
innovation in
finished.
influencer marketing. Yeah, it is like going crazy, right? We were
It's
discussing
it's
everything.
everything, yes.
Are there
So
any
this is the
new
fun.
technology? Yeah,
This
yeah,
is the
this is
fun
a
part
fun.
of
Yeah.
this is the fun part of our podcast is that you just move into different directions and you are pulled back and then you start again.
Yes, true, true. Uh, are there any new technology or platform that you are particularly excited about?
In terms of influencer marketing.
Yes,
So
yes.
there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of innovative work. I'll rather not comment because I am my bread and
I will
earnings
add
comes
one
from.
angle to it that like AI is it is actually influencing a lot of things. How do you think that influencer marketing would be influenced by AI?
Oh, it has to be. It has to be because if you look at there are influencers who are AI built. So
Yes.
if an influencer who's an AI build can create and could do collaborations, so that means AI is there to stay. And in fact, in terms of technology, why AI is very important is that so there are very basic jobs. As if you are able to somehow integrate a chatbot into with AIB into our platforms, is that our jobs becomes very easy. For example,
Easy.
just say as a platform, you're a marketer and you want to request cost from a influencer. Now you can't type a 100 line message each time to you go out to a influencer and want to drop a message to their inbox. Now
Mm-hmm.
you use technology and the learnings from it, and you get your message delivered. In fact, we us in our technology are going ahead and doing some AI implementations because that solves a lot of problems. For example, if you want to once you've onboarded, you got everything. You want to say give a detailed brief to an influencer. Now you hire a content writer or copywriter, and that guy writing briefs, for hundreds or 500 influencers will take ever. Now, what you do, you just
Yes.
take a set of inputs, you put it into the AI, be it a chat GPT or Bard, whatever you want to use, or how do you want to integrate.
Mm.
You get a 10 pager explaining each
Detailed brief.
element that
Yes.
detailed and elements that needs to be covered in a brief, and that your briefs
Mm.
go out. So this is where it is. It
Yes.
is an important part. AI is here to stay. Will
Yes.
will will
AI
will
is here
will
to
will
stay.
case will create turmoils. It is already, but yeah, it is
Mm.
here to stay. It will create a lot of impact on our business also. I could see that really happening in this hour only.
How, if you
See,
can enlighten us, how it is going to impact your business?
I'll tell you why. For originally, if you know that these AI tools are capable of writing algorithms.
Mm.
Hmm? Now, how do we extract data? Is that we have our own set of algorithms now, which have been
Mm,
primarily built by us. Now, there is a huge chunk of software designers, software coders, and everyone who's there.
mm,
Now with AI, what happens is that if you're able to get the job done in a very, it's a very lame thing that I'm saying, but just try to understand the nitty-gritty of it. Is that if you're able to do that job with one person, so then your input costs are already very low. For example, for
mm,
me to run a platform like this needs a team of 7 coders and software people. Now, if you're
mm,
able to do that job with the say team of 3,
mm. So you're saving cost.
we are saving cost and cost saving also for someone who's built till this one. See, the wheel is already built.
Mm,
Now it's up to us how we kind of leather it and make it more performance better. So this is where for initial people who started this business, they'll face this little challenge because they've already created the wheel. But yeah, but then this is part of any industry. This is where it is. But yes, it will create a lot of waves in our industry itself, and I am pretty sure about it. Pretty sure about it.
mhm. Yeah. What role does data and analytics play in driving innovation in influencer marketing?
Oh, data plays a key part in any aspect of any business,
Yeah.
be it operation driven, be it sales driven, be it an analytics. How would an data influence an influencer platform is that by giving you the richness of it. For example, if I am a female oriented brand, my products only talk to women,
Mm,
and I work with a women influencer, and I'm not being sexist here. This is what the trueness of internet is that,
mm,
and my audience is 95% male.
mm,
What will eventually happen is that if my data pointers are not selected wisely, my engagement will also be very high for that content pieces because that is going to the right audience. But
mm,
is it relevant? No, it's not relevant because I don't think so. Anyone would be interested on buying a particular female driven product. 1 or 2 people or 1 or 2% might be or more than that, but eventually it's not going. Rather, you find an influencer, a female influencer whose female audience is around 50-60%. Now you do an activation basis on those data pointers. You're also doing the relevance. You're also hitting the right point and you're showing your right to the right people. So this is a very basic argument I'll give is that data will help you kind of select the influencer with the right audience and the right solution it will offer to your product or the right justice it will do to your product. This is very best. And yeah, apart from it, there are multi challenges. For example, if you are an FMCG brand, your perceived values same for all across, and you want to activate a campaign which is say primarily is 100% Gujarat driven. It's
mm,
now you pick up influencers whose audience is still all across India,
mm,
or
mm,
you'll
mm.
pick up influencers whose audience is largely across different cities of Gujarat, is Ahmedabad, Surat, Porbandar, wherever it is. So
I
you'll figure
understand.
out influencers. You pick up an influencer who could be from any place, and their
Mm,
audience is on those cities that you want to target. And in fact, you can also pick
yes.
up a regional influencer whose audience is primarily 80% from that local place. So that way, you are trying to solve your need.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
technology will eventually change a lot. In fact, AI tools and other integrations in future, you'll also see a lot of social platforms like ours, which is Qoruz, which is primarily an influencer platform right now, doing a lot of listening of around the chatter which is happening around influencers and other people, because it's very basic need for a brand to know what all people are speaking about my brand. And when an
Mm,
influencer puts out a content, what kind of resonance or what kind of communication or what kind of chatter he is able to develop across the internet for my particular brand. So it gives you more insights, more learnings.
yes.
This in technology, multiple technologies integrating itself, with them with influencer marketing is the way future. You'll see
Mm,
listening
mm.
tools be a
True.
part of
Very
it.
true.
You'll see AI
It,
be a part of it. You'll see planning tools be
it
a part
is.
of it.
It is not for influencer marketing. It for every aspect of the business.
Yes,
Data is the key.
yes, data is the key. Yes.
Data is the key. So we comes to an end. Before we close, I want to ask few personal questions.
Personal, my
Like
God.
you, yeah. So you said that you were in hospitality and now you are leading a team of influencer marketers. Uh, as a kid, as a child, what was your aspiration? What you wanted to do? Yeah, for me, I wanted to become a pilot, but that didn't happen.
So I'll tell you what. I come from Uttarakhand, and though I was born and brought up in Nainital, my whole education happened there. Primarily, the only dream of so not also a dream because it's how the society is also evolved or built is that people wanted to have government jobs only, or they wanted to become engineers. So something where a predictable future is there. I wanted to join army, and in fact, a lot of my friends are in army. So there are only
That's
two
good.
groups in my friend circle, which is one is into your business, the other is into army. So that's how deep I wanted to be a part of Indian armed services. In fact, two times I had tried joining the army. Two times, both of the times I got didn't get selected post the last round of interview, which is your I don't know what they call it now, but earlier it was the president of the board that used to take interview, and then he used to say, okay, this guy would be in, or this girl would be in, or these people will are okay, they're part of the thank you lot. So this is where it is. I wanted to be in army. That's where my in fact my dreams were.
That's great. That's great. So, so any place that you want to visit, abhi tak nahi gaye, and then it's there in your list that I want to go someday there as a vacation to spend some time with family.
So in fact, my wife is listening from the other corner of the room, and we had two times planned to visit Arunachal Pradesh. So we were unable to go. Rather, not only Arunachal, but those seven sisters across Northeast.
Oh,
so we had
very
planned.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we had planned that. So yeah, eventually, but I hope so. This year we'll be able to pull that gig. In fact, being in sales, being in sales, being into sales, I have this opportunity to travel and discover most of the India, or most of the Bharat, I would like to call. So I worked in Jammu Kashmir, I worked in Rajasthan, I worked in UP, I worked in Odisha, I worked in Maharashtra, I worked in Karnataka. So almost all bigger part of the country I have covered as an individual, being able to live with locals. I've been able to understand the taste, likings, why certain people behave a certain way. But yes, when it comes to family, Northeast is the place I would like to take them.
Being as a father, what challenge you feel communicating to your kids?
It's multiple, I'll say. It's not one challenge. You yourself are father of two beautiful girls, and I think one challenge remains same for us with a daughter is that how to communicate with them in a manner that they are able to understand what we are saying and what is right or what is wrong. How to make them take a wise decision, what is right, what is wrong. That is there. But what see. If you look at the cartoons these guys watch, or I will have to, this has come to a random thought to me right now. The cartoons these kids watch are way different from the cartoons that were served to us when we were kids. Now the cartoons today, if you look at it, there is a very thin line of vulgarity and or I would say whether to close the channel for or not, or I'm in a very dilemma right now whether can I allow certain pieces of content pieces to be served to my kids with through this cartoons? Though my daughter primarily loves animation, but there are certain characters who this SpongeBob is one, Peppa Pig is one. Though they are nice, but sometimes the language they kind of serve to the kids is very very alarming. So for me to create a strategy, create a argument to them saying that boss, do not watch this, do not watch that, becomes a question. And in fact, wherein I work in a company or in a business where I have to be addicted to Instagram to know what is happening. So it becomes a moral policing whether I am involved in such a game wherein I am asking them not to watch certain pieces of content. But yeah, that is the only conversation I have with my daughter, wherein she has kind of raised this question multiple times. You are always there on Instagram and TikTok. Rather, she loves calling it TikTok. And why can't I watch these TV shows? So this is a very question that I have to answer to them, and I think I need to answer them very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. So thank you, Deepak, for sharing your incredible journey with us and the insight you have shared. As a wrap up, let's remember to embrace our passion, pursue our dreams, and never be afraid of exploring new horizons. And I would say bye at this point of time, and join us next time for more captive conversation on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's lovely talking to you. So much learning, so much insights, and the personal branding part is, though I spoke a lot about it, but yeah, I think I need to work on it. It's a takeaway from this conversation that I'll have it, and rather the how to communicate to your kids is another takeaway. Rather, two takeaways I will have away from this conversation. But thank you so much for this opportunity. Really appreciate it, and wish you many luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.